Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands, and welcome to an SP Reviews, where today we have ourselves a track from an act named Candy Fernaux titled Beauty Don't Come Cheap. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves a track on YouTube, and we're going to be listening through this track from start till finish, and we're going to hear what we think. Let's go. It's nice and peppy off the bat.
He complains about women being gold diggers. They want dinner, drinks, and flowers, go figure. He brags about the dates he's had this week and bitches about the money he's blown on each. Obviously, he hasn't a clue about all the things we women do.
I'm enamored immediately. I genuinely appreciate a lot of different things very quickly, because I know this isn't about me, this is about the music, but the production quality is on point. The way the instruments are leveled and performed is eloquent and elegant, and I'm really happy with the vocal style as well. The way it harmonizes with the backing and is also just the present, and it's just the sense of humor as well, and just it's just very real.
I told him before he rambled on anymore what a woman spends before she walks out her door. From the top of her head to the soles of her feet, I explained the cost. It looks so sweet. I said, honey, beauty don't come cheap.
Almost exotic phrasing to the guitars there. I kind of dig it.
Every day, 'cause I'm not naturally built this way, and this pretty face takes a lot of product with facials and peels, and did I mention makeup? Victoria's Secret gives me more than I got, and I know you men love that a lot. I told him before he rambled on anymore what a woman spends before she walks out her door. From the top of her head to the soles of her feet, I explained the cost. It looks so sweet. I said, honey, beauty don't come cheap.
I mean, like I said, that's a genuinely catchy hook line. There's something really special about this track, and I don't feel obligated to say that. I really like it. I think that the phrasing to the chorus in general is wonderful. There's so much effort put into the way that the different guitar riffs and the bass and drums and the slides and all that have been stuck in there. And there's cool responses in the last part of that chorus. And the chorus isn't just a set of 8 perfect bars. It's like 6 with an interesting tail off. And guitar solo, right?
Joe makes jeans that fit my tush just right. Jimmy Choo gives me just enough height. A mani, a pedi, bikini wax. Then I'm off to the spa for an herbal wrap. All this is only what you can see. You can't put a price on what's beneath. I told him before he rambled on anymore what a woman spends before she walks out her door. From the top of her head to the soles of her feet, I explained the cost. It looks so sweet. I said, honey, beauty don't come cheap.
And it's just like the sub-layer harmonies and stuff like that.
Honey, beauty, it don't come cheap, cheap, cheap. Don't be so cheap, 'cause nobody likes a cheap man.
I dig it. I think it's the charisma. I think it's the joy that Candy is having within this. It's just, they clearly love music and what they're making, have a great amount of confidence in it. I personally feel that that confidence is well deserved. And welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from an act named Candy Fernaux. Apologies if I'm mispronouncing that, by the way. Titled Beauty Don't Come Cheap. Now, what do I think this track is about? I mean, I think that it's fairly sort of like, basically it's about guys assuming they're being hard done by when they have to pay for stuff like for dates and stuff like that, and it's Candy basically educating people that no, like, women have to do a lot of stuff to prepare for those dates as well. It's not just a one-sided thing, that both sides put effort in their own ways, and that the guy needs to stop being a bit of a tool. Yeah, I think that the storytelling is wonderful, the lyrics, the sense of humor to it, but also the authenticity of it. You can tell by the way it's sung that we're just really sick of having to sort of cope with those really kind of basic nobody does like a cheap man. I don't think anyone likes a cheap anything, to be fair. But yeah, that's what the story I think is about. It's there's a lot more nuance to it, and Candy explained it better than I could, but that's my take on what it's about. Candy's vocals are solid, great control of the head and chest voice there, nice little bit of flow with some of those legato passages as well. There's various different ways of phrasing the vocals there. We're really candid with the persona, the way we emote is it's enjoyable. Actually feels like someone actually performing. It's a really solid vocal performance, and ultimately it's just a really satisfying line. Like, it seems like it's been well handled. There are backing vocals that kind of do call and response, and as well as some overarching harmonies in the chorus lines. And we also harmonize with ourselves at different points of the track. It's not just all the time. It's unpredictable when we're going to have those extra layers, and I like that, because music needs to not be predictable in order to be enjoyable in these sorts of situations. It's not always good to have randomness, but like for it to be, it's like a surprise, right? Music needs to be pleasantly surprising, and I think that in addition to, again, the sense of humor, just the polish with how it was sung, the personality, and all that. It's just the fact that the vocals adapted, and over the course of 3 minutes, it was really wonderful. The track itself, again, at 3 minutes, is literally right between the 2 to 4 minute sweet spot. It's ready for playing whatever sort of digital stream platform or other way of listening to music you can think of there. The way it was structured with the different verse and chorus parts there, with the more sort of like traditional verse phrasings, but the kind of the 6-bar choruses was really dope. And I think that we also just had some really lovely solo passages as well that articulated a different lead nicely as a foil to what Candy was doing. And that's so important even in a shorter track, because even if someone is a great singer and you enjoy listening to them, just having a bit of change in something different can really freshen the palette for another line of the chorus, or that line in the end where we sort of broke the fourth wall a little bit and talked about how nobody liked the cheap man, etc. It's great. If I focused on a few of the instruments I really appreciated, with the understanding that the transitions between parts of the songs was flawless and streamlined, and I don't have any complaints about how it was put together. It's how you can't really fault it with the song structure and stuff like that. The guitars were tremendous. I love the clarity and the tone of them. I think both the slide parts, the sort of strummed parts, the individual kind of picked parts there with the interesting lead lines, with the really fascinating melodic phrasing there in the early parts of those riffs there. There were different lines that performed different functions and came together into a really full-sounding string section that basically sat really nicely with Candy's vocals. The bass line did not just play the root notes. We had different parts going in with the different notes of the scale shapes and stuff like that. We explored some of the modes there. I think we may have even had some sort of chromaticisms in there occasionally, but just really charming bass line that was nice and thick and full in the mix without being overpowering. Was keeping a great sense of keeping in sync with the bass, the drums, should I say there, with the drums being really nicely handled as well. We didn't overplay, we pocketed, but at the same time we were in time the whole entire time. And it's just a tremendous effort. We knew our way around a kit, but knew not to sort of approach all of it all the time, and had a great sense of movement that just was really satisfying to listen to, with the backing suiting Candy's approach really well. And the lead guitar solo as a final note was really well phrased. It sounded like a nice replacement for Candy's part. They had their own sort of personality they inserted there, whilst not being too sort of overpowering and trying to sort of change it. It was a nice adjustment there, but we floated back into the hook really well, and it was nice. The theme overall, the way the track sounded, was it sounded like we're being good-humored and good-natured about the situation we're in. We were kind of calling out for things to be a change, and we sounded frustrated occasionally, but I think the thing I like about country music is that with this kind of country especially, it never gets too dark and sort of like dreadful. And even if there's like serious topics, we're approaching them in a way where I think people can sort of like kind of commiserate and understand it because they're not being sort of yelled at or anything like that. Again, there's a bit of cheekiness, a bit of a sense of humor to it, but you can tell these are things that maybe Candy isn't particularly stoked about. And what I think a lot of that comes through with the personality, the vocal take, the backing in this situation, I think, was to kind of mellow things out and keep them well balanced and sort of take a bit of the edge off some of that whilst providing a nice foil to it. The theme made a lot of sense. It was complicated. There was a lot of diversity with the various intonations. Again, like the way it didn't just have standard chord shapes, so we had some sort of bluesy extensions there. And again, some unusual scale shapes, but with lots of variety in the rhythms and stuff. But things nonetheless amalgamated well. There were no uncomfortable, awkward parts, and it was just a really well-written track. The post-production, studio recording, mixing, and mastering was stellar. No complaints there whatsoever. Sounded like a commercial-grade track ready for release. I really hope Candy is doing more stuff. They definitely deserve all the love they can get. They're a great musician, and the team that they were working with, I presume, did a fantastic job as well. Because the vocals had a phenomenal presence to them, whether they're in the center or the backing parts of the double track bits. The guitars, bass, and drums were nice and thick and full and creamy, and it was nice and wide in the stereo field with lots of different bits kind of popping up here and there without being too much and without sort of taking away from the focal point in the center field, which of course is Candy's vocals. Things were nicely niched in the frequency spectrum them as well, with no weird resonant frequencies. There was dynamic range there as well, so things were not the same loudness all the time. We had bits where they came down or came up. And then finally, it was still nice and loud without pumping, so the bus compression and limiting was handled. I mean, effectively, this is my review. My first time listening to Candy Fernaux and their track Beauty Don't Come Cheap, and it's a great first impression, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please go check out Candy's various social medias and YouTube page, and stay cool, stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I'll catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.